Hi everybody, welcome to 30 Days of Corsets Day 28. So we are coming to the home stretch. Today's question is, what is my favorite corset silhouette? Whether wasp waist, conical rib, round rib, pipe stem, etc. Aesthetically, I have to admit that my favorite silhouette is a conical rib or a straight rib because honestly it takes dedication to be able to train your floating ribs like that, and I think that silhouette is the most beautiful under clothing. That's just from my subjective standpoint. But from a patterning perspective, I really appreciate a round rib corset because it's not terribly widespread throughout the off-the-rack corset market, especially corsets that happen to be gently cupped in both the front of the rib and in the side. So that is one reason why I decided to come out with a cupped rib Gemini corset in addition to the conical rib. I was originally just going to go with the conical rib because it's so popular, but I saw that there was a hole in the market that was neglecting people that had very rigid, inflexible ribs, and I wanted them to have something. So that's why I decided to come out with both and make them twins. So I feel that a cupped rib corset has a relative novelty or uniqueness to it, especially in the off-the-rack industry. Of course, if you're going to go custom, then you can get any silhouette you like and any silhouette that's most comfortable for you, whether that is conical or cupped or somewhere in between, because it's a spectrum. Another thing that I really like about the round rib corsets is that they seem to be a little bit more anatomical compared to many other off-the-rack corsets out there, because we live in a world where so many manufacturers are pumping out corsets for the sake of making corsets and selling them and making a quick buck. It's gotten to the point that I can kind of tell when a corset has sort of just been draped on a mannequin and bears no resemblance to an actual human body that has hard skeletal structure and then squishy bits in the waistline. With all of these cylindrical tubes and these U-shaped corsets with no room in the ribs and hips so that you can't, compress the waistline and it's not properly supporting the curve of the spine or anything. It's no wonder that these novices are trying on these corsets and then they come to the conclusion that all corsets must hurt, or all corsets make your butt go numb, or all corsets fit this way. And that's simply not the case, because they're not trying on a corset that is made to fit the human body. These people are coming in and they are just like, yeah, well, a corset's a corset's a corset, and they have no knowledge of physiology or human anatomy. It takes a little bit more effort to actually pattern something to fit the human body so closely. It takes a little bit more effort than the bare minimum to make a properly fitting, comfortable corset. It takes a little bit of knowledge in physiology and human anatomy. It takes a little bit of attention to detail, and it takes a little bit of actually testing these garments on human beings before bringing them to market. And a lot of companies are just completely neglecting all of these. That's not to say that all companies who happen to sell slim silhouette corsets have no basic knowledge in human anatomy, because slim silhouette corsets do have a purpose for back support, for flattening the tummy if somebody happens to have a tummy protrusion, diastasis recti, a natural waist that happens to be larger than the hips, a few other situations. However, in the context of the abundance of poorly drafted and poor quality corsets out there, it only heightens my appreciation for a well-drafted, comfortable round rib corset that sweeps elegantly and smoothly over a person's natural skeletal structure and enhances their natural contours and undulations of the body. So in that sense, those specialist corseters who make, for instance, pipe stem waist corsets, although they are really an acquired taste and not something personally to my taste, not my personal aesthetic, I do have a somewhat artistic appreciation for the construction and the artistry that goes into the corset, and the incredible dedication and tenacity and determination and experience of the wearer to be able to achieve such an extreme silhouette, even if that's not something that I particularly strive for. To bring such an extreme garment like that to fruition, something that is very functional, efficiently shapes the waist, is wearable and comfortable for the client, and is strong enough to withstand, say, 23-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week wear, requires a considerable amount of communication between the client and the corseteer. And so there is quite a lot of work and experience coming together to create this piece of wearable art. But yeah, in terms of my own personal comfort level and appreciation for the craft, I tend to prefer slightly round rib silhouette corsets the best. And I think that's kind of reflected in my own work in the corsets that I draft and sell. And there will always be conical rib corsets in the industry out there. There will always be many other brands selling straight rib corsets for other people who prefer that aesthetic or find that more comfortable. And so it feels good that many of us different off-the-rack corset retailers and many independent corseteers can coexist within the same industry, because we all have our own really specific niche to serve different parts of the community. So that's all I have for this video. Let me know in a comment down below which corset silhouette you happen to find most comfortable and which corset silhouette you tend to aesthetically prefer. And if those two things happen to be the same corset silhouette and style for you, then you're super lucky. For other people, it might be two different silhouettes, and that's fair. You know, that's kind of life. You sort of have to operate within the reasonable physical limitations of your own body, as I have to as well. But yeah, leave your comment down below. I would be curious to read your comments, and I'm sure many other people are curious to know as well. Thank you all for watching to the end of this video, and I will see you all next week for another video. Bye.